Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you 6 different ways to set up a tarp for wild camping and bushcraft. This tarp I'm using, it's a 3x3 meter tarp from DD Hammocks, and I went with the Coyote brown colour. I like this shade because it blends nicely with woodland environments, making it ideal for stealthy camps and minimal visual impact. It's lightweight but strong, with multiple attachment points stitched around the edges and through the centre. It gives you loads of setup options, whether using trees, poles or even the ground. Now let me teach you how to tie a ridgeline up using a taut-line hitch. First, wrap your rope around the tree. Take the working end and make 2 loops around the standing part of the rope on the inside. Then make a 3rd loop, but this time on the outside of the previous 2. Then tighten it up once you've finished the knot. You'll notice that when you start to pull on it, it won't actually move and it will hold in place. But if you were to grab the knot and pull on it gently, you can adjust the length of the ridgeline to whatever you need it for. This is a really handy knot for when you want to adjust your ridgeline quick and easily. I'm going to tie the same knot on the other side now to complete the ridgeline. Once your ridgeline is up, there is a few ways you can attach your tarp. The simplest method is just to drape it over like a blanket. It's fast and easy, but it doesn't hold well in the wind and it can slide side to side. I wouldn't call this the most practical way of doing it, but if you are out of options and you don't have anything else to tie it up with, then this is a way that you can do it. Another method is to thread the ridgeline through the centre loops like an outdoor shower curtain. It gives a neater look, but again, it tends to slide around, especially in the wind. This is definitely a better alternative than just a draping over the ridgeline, but again, I wouldn't rely on this one for the fact that it does move around a lot and I don't think it's 100% practical. You can see how much it does move and slide around when it is up and I'm trying to adjust it. You can only really stop it from moving around by using guy lines at each corner. For a much secure setup, I use PRUSIK knots. To make this, take a short loop of cord, or make one by tying the ends together. To make the loop, what I do is I tie up a square knot. Then I wrap the loop around the ridgeline and then pass it through itself 3 times. When you're doing this, you want to make sure that you are getting it in the order you wrap it round. So you want the loops to go in line with each other and not wrapped over each other. You want it to look neat and tidy for this to work. Then all you need to do is pull it tight to lock. Now, when you pull on this, you'll notice that it actually doesn't move. So if I pull on it tight, it won't go anywhere. I find this much more reliable because it does hold itself in strong winds and not move around much. But if you were to slide it, it does move nice and freely, so you can adjust the tightness of your tarp, but still does not move when you pull on it. If you take the centre loop of the tarp and feed it through the PRUSIK, and slide a small stick through the loop to lock it in, the stick becomes a quick release anchor. This little trick saves you loads of time and frustration, especially if you're adjusting things in the dark or when your hands are cold. Just to show you the difference in how strong this is compared to the other 2, I'm going to clip every single one of these up just to show you how tight it can be. As you can see, I'm pulling on it quite tightly and it is not moving. This is holding in really nicely. The first tarp shelter we're building is a classic A-frame. This is one of the simplest and most reliable setups, and it works well in a wide range of weather conditions. With the ridgeline in place and the tarp centered over it, pull both sides of the tarp out and peg them down to the ground to form a triangle on each side, making sure that everything is symmetrical and tight so water can run off easily. This shelter is great because it's so fast to put up and it offers full body coverage. You're protected from rain above and wind from both sides. There's plenty of airflow to prevent condensation and you can easily tuck your gear under the edges to keep it dry. The downside is that it's not fully enclosed. The winds can blow from either end and you don't have much space to move around or sit up, but for sleeping through a rainy night, it does the job beautifully. The next shelter we're going to do is a flying A-frame, which is very similar to the A-frame, it's just off the ground. What you need to do is take all the pegs out of the A-frame so you can release it from the ground. It's a really versatile and comfortable shelter that gives you more space and visibility than the standard A-frame. Whilst being relatively quick to set up, this one is perfect for when you want to enjoy your surroundings, cook under cover, or just stretch a bit without losing that rain protection over your head. Once you've raised it up higher with your ridgeline, you want to tie some guidelines off of each corners, and then you can peg them down just to hold it in place. This is good for when you have strong winds, and also you want it at an angle so the rain can just drip off nicely for it. Once it's set up, it does look really nice when it's hanging up. You can definitely see the difference in the space that you will get when using this. The flying A-frame definitely gives you more headroom and livable space under the tarp. It's ideal for cooking, changing clothes, or having just a bit of breathing room. The airflow is great, which means there's less condensation overnight and it's visually nice, but it's less like a tent and more like an open camp. On the downside, it doesn't offer full protection from wind or sideways rain. Right, now let's take that flying A-frame shelter and adapt it to one of the most favourite ways to sleep outdoors, and that's a hammock. Start by hanging your hammock. You need to get this to the right height and make sure it sags a bit so it is comfortable for sleeping. A good rule of thumb is that the straps should come off the tree at roughly 30-degree angle, and your hammock should sit about a chair height off the ground once you're in it. If you hung it up and it still doesn't look right, then you can just adjust it again. You want to make sure you're comfortable. I find this setup really comfortable, lightweight and great airflow, and perfect for warm nights. It does keep you off the cold ground, but you will need to wrap yourself up warm if you want to keep that heat in. Next up is a classic lean-to shelter. Simple, open from the front setup that's been used for generations. It's a great option when you want a quick coverage from wind or rain from one side, while keeping the other side open for airflow, a fire, or just enjoying the view. Attach the front part of your tarp to the ridgeline using the PRUSIK knots. This will be the top part of the shelter. Then adjust the height to your preference. I like to have mine just a little bit higher than most people tend to. Then peg down the opposite side of the tarp directly to the ground using tent pegs. Pull it at a slight angle to give you some room inside. I often use this setup when I want a quick camp and I'm expecting calm weather and light wind. It's easy to pitch, gives you plenty of visibility and lets you stay connected to the forest around you. Plus it's easy to build up from here and you can always add sides or flaps if the weather changes. This is not ideal for heavy wind or sideways rain. This next one is a simple upgrade to the basic lean-to, and it makes a big difference. It's a lean-to shelter with a roof extension. The idea is to create a small overhang at the front to give you extra protection from rain and wind without closing off your space entirely. This setup works better with smaller tarps, but because I'm using a bigger tarp, I'm going to unhook the front part of the tarp from the ridgeline. Then I'm going to drape it over so it is equal on both sides. Then tighten up my ridgeline. Then put pegs in the back of the tarp to hold it in place. With making the roof, I'm using some hiking poles, but you can use sticks if you don't have any of these. I tie some guidelines to my hiking pole and pull it out in place, and I want it as tight as possible. If you're enjoying the video, then please feel free to like, subscribe and hit that notification bell. This setup works especially well with a fire out front. The roof helps trap the heat. I like this shelter because when I'm expecting light to moderate rain, or I just want that bit of extra comfort without fully enclosing myself, it's a solid all-rounder that takes hardly any effort to put up, but makes camp life way more enjoyable. Now let's say the weather starts to turn while you're out, or maybe the wind is picking up or the rain shifts direction. If you're already set up with a lean-to with roof extension, you don't have to start from scratch. A quick and effective way to adapt is to switch this shelter to a C-fly. To build it, start by unhooking the two guidelines, then drop your ridgeline down slightly so it's better within the wind. Then pull the tarp back so there is less of a roof and there is more at the back hanging down. The reason that we are doing this is because this creates a ground sheet that we can use to keep ourselves off of the wet ground if it does get to heavy rain. Then peg the back so it holds it in place. I also like to peg down the ground sheet so it doesn't move around too much. Then bring your hiking poles back out so you can start to create that roof again. Exactly the same way as we did before, but you have lowered down the poles just so it is a bit shorter. Make sure the guy lines are tight if it is bad weather. It's also a bit stealthier. Since the low profile design, it blends in better with the terrain. The ground sheet is definitely an extra bonus to keep you warm and keep you off of the wet ground. I tend to use this setup when I'm camping in more exposed spots because I find this one very good. This would work well with a Dakota fire because it will be further away from the roof. Now let's say the weather is starting to turn bad while you're out. When in the sea fly shelter, what you can do is you can drop the roof down and then you can peg this to the ground, basically creating a very small bivvy. This shelter is ideal if you want more privacy or if you're expecting serious bad weather. It's also a bit stealthier since the low profile design blends in with the terrain. It is extremely cozy and you are more confined, but this will protect you in serious bad weather. There really isn't much space to move, especially if your gear in here, but this will protect you. There you have it. There's 6 tarp shelters set up using a 3x3 tarp. Let me know in the comments which one you'd go for. Until next time, stay safe and stay wild.